Hi, Dave here from Informed American. It is time to get informed. All of you, I hope you are having a great day. Wanted to ask the question, are we all becoming COVID-19 anti-vaxxers? This ongoing push to get a vaccine ready for COVID-19. Of course, you probably all heard of Operation Warp Speed, which is what the administration billed. It's basically its moonshot, its version of the Manhattan Project to get a COVID-19 vaccine as fast as possible, and I believe would be in record time. Traditionally, vaccines take some number of years, but the administration rather sought to push this from years to months. And of course, that has become a bit political now, as we've heard. Of course, why is it political? Well, of course, because many people getting sick and dying, and of course, all the lockdowns, and then. Oh yeah, there's an election on November 3rd. And what we've been hearing is this teasing out of the administration and some spokespeople that we could, in fact, have a vaccine approved, if not out, as early as late October. How about the timing on that? Now, many of you, we've posed this question to all of you over the last couple of months. Whether would you take a vaccine? Are you concerned about the safety of a COVID-19 vaccine? And many of you are skeptical of a COVID-19 vaccine, whether you would take it. Many of you don't want to be, and I think that's kind of where I am to some degree, is I don't want to be the guinea pig. I don't want to be the first person to take it. And it may relate to how. What's your level of risk? How vulnerable are you? Do you have pre-existing conditions? Are you a bit older? Maybe in those conditions you may want, in those circumstances you may want to take it. But for younger folk or for those people who are otherwise healthy, you may kind of be like, I don't know if I really want to take this. Now, me personally, I don't get the flu vaccine, and I don't typically get the flu, so it's advised that you get it, and I just haven't. So I don't know. For me, I don't know COVID-19 vaccine. I mean, who knows what certain people might require for this? If they'll maybe your employer may want you to get it or something like that. I mean, who knows? Curious. Just as we're going along here, go ahead and comment down below. React to anything I'm saying. React to any of the news stories that I'm showing. Let me know your thoughts. Just comment down below, and I could see those. In fact, if you comment now while I'm live, I can read and react to those. So, what's new about this? I think maybe you guys are like, well, what's the deal? What's the deal, Dave? Why are you bringing this up today? Well, there's a reason. Because we're getting closer to the election, and we're getting closer to that potential late October approval announcement date, which certainly would bode well politically for the president. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at a story here from that just came out after the testimony from CDC head. As he was asked the question. Actually, it may have been a press conference. Let's just get to that. A story here from CNN. Trump disputes CDC head's vaccine timeline and mask claims. Now, there's an interesting quote here. He was asked about, it's really this paragraph here, which to me is a little strange. But he's basically asking about, versus, the vaccine versus any potential vaccine from the president versus, face masks. And it's kind of strange. So they might go as far to say that the face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I get a COVID vaccine, because the immunogenicity may be 70%. And if I don't get an immune response, the vaccine is not going to protect me. This face mask will, Redfield told lawmakers during public testimony, adding that the American public has not yet embraced the use of face masks to a level that could effectively control the outbreak. Now, that strikes me as curious, to say the least. He's saying, by the way, that word immunogenicity. If you are curious about that, I do have that up. I've never heard this word before. This is the immunogenicity is the ability of a foreign substance, such as an antigen, to provoke an immune response in the body of a human or other animal. In other words, it's the ability to make humoral or cell-mediated immune responses. So I think basically, if that wasn't clear enough English. I think basically what that means is the vaccine will only generate an immune response in 70% of people. That's basically his guess there. Now, whether that's true or not, but the strange thing is it's saying that this thing's better than a vaccine. I mean, what's the protection on a face mask? Is it's higher than 70%? That strikes me as odd. I mean, we're still on the mask thing, so I don't know if he was just doing like some messaging or something like that. I'll tell you what. I think I would trust a vaccine more than this, and I think many of you, even though you may be skeptical of getting a vaccine, it would certainly be nice to not have to wear this thing everywhere you go, right? I mean, maybe that's reason enough to get the vaccine. So I don't have to wear this stupid mask every time I walk in somewhere. Or if I forget, I gotta go back to my car. And it's a little odd there, but. So even the CDC director is expressing some skepticism. Now, apparently he did clear that up. The New York Post says CDC head Robert Redfield walks back Senate testimony on claim on COVID-19 vaccine. So it's basically, I think he said he basically mixed up the answer there between masks and a vaccine. But it says, when I called him up, says, what's with the mask? He said, I think I answered that question incorrectly. I think maybe he misunderstood it. There's two questions there. So, but the question of a timeline. But even leaving that aside, I mean, we have the CDC head saying he's not even all that into a vaccine as we're having this push for one. And he did admit that I might have just been focusing a little bit more on the mask or something than the vaccine. But it's not. It's a narrative shift going on here, and that's really the point I want to bring up. Is now we're getting, it's like we needed therapeutics, we needed the lockdowns, and then once we get the right drugs to treat this, and then once we get a vaccine, guys, once we get that, and I think maybe that's. But if you go back a couple of months, that was the messaging. Once we get a vaccine. Hey, this will go. We'll give the vaccine to everybody or whoever wants it, and then we could open up the economy again, and we can get life back to normal. And this was coming from prominent people, like say those who push vaccines or advocate for vaccines, advocate for widespread vaccinations. People like Bill Gates, who say, "Oh, where do vaccine fears come from?" And I think many of you were skeptical. I think some of the skepticism was, in fact, that Bill Gates was sort of in league here to maybe just get a vaccine for mass vaccination or something like that. That was one of the concerns. And here he is advocating. This is just one example, many times, of Bill Gates advocating for widespread vaccination. And of course, if you scroll down in the comments here, it's kind of interesting. Here's one that says, "Hey, Bill, can you please confirm or deny whether or not all your children were vaccinated with all the recommended vaccines according to the then recommended vaccine schedule in the U.S. during their childhoods? Thank you." So it's just there, and it's a touchy topic. As we've seen, I think one of the claims for childhood vaccines is that they require many more than they used to, and the question is, what is necessary or not. But someone like Bill Gates, who advocates for widespread vaccination, one who calls for that sort of thing, is now, and in fact, earlier here I got a story from Zero Hedge. Bill Gates, coronavirus vaccine should be mandatory for some. But now that narrative has shifted just a bit. There's two examples of Bill Gates wanting vaccination, one specifically for COVID-19, but then an update earlier this week, Bill Gates slams FDA, doubts agency can be trusted with COVID-19 vaccine. Interesting. A little bit of change in tack there. And now here's a story from Biden, or Washington Post. Biden questions whether, I don't know what that ad there, but Biden questions whether a vaccine approved by Trump would be safe. So there we go, everyone. There we go. We needed early stages. We needed a vaccine. This is how we're going to get out of this. This is how we're going to end the lockdowns. Hopefully, you won't have to wear this stupid mask anymore. Carry this thing around constantly. Hello. And then once if everybody gets the vaccine, we'll all be safe. We could end the lockdowns. The economy will go back to normal. Life itself will get back to normal. But now, let's pump the brakes a little bit, everybody. The FDA under President Trump just cannot be trusted with a vaccine. you got to be skeptical here. And I'm curious to see this, basically the turning of the narrative now. We've got people like Gates and in the media talking about science. We got to follow the science. We got to make decisions based on the science. But now when the science puts out a vaccine, now we're very dubious of its efficacy. And the orange man. The orange man is in charge of the FDA, which means the FDA is now terrible, broken, and corrupt and can't trust the vaccine that comes out of it. It is very interesting to see the way the narrative has taken a turn as we are here in this information war where everything is basically fake. I mean, you can't believe a thing that comes out of all these people's mouths in any given day, and they're so quick, like, say, Bill Gates and now apparently Biden, to now be all of a sudden skeptical of a vaccine. We've been hearing for months that that's what we need. Why? Because the potential timing of an approval before the election, which would potentially boost President Trump's chances for re-election. It is absolutely unbelievable. But then just to close here, it is interesting to see how now, have they come home to vaccine skepticism? As I mentioned at the top, many of you are skeptical of taking a vaccine like this, whether it's necessary or whether it'll even work. And now, all the people that said to get a vaccine are now like, yeah, maybe you don't want to get one. So I would say, they're not really sharing your skepticism is what I would say. They're not really on board with the same things you are because they will flip on a dime the minute this election is over. And if President Trump loses and if Biden is elected in November, what will you hear? What can you expect to hear from Bill Gates? Yeah, take the vaccine. It's safe. It's science, man. You got to believe the scientists and the experts. What's Joe Biden going to say? Hey, we all need the vaccine. That's what the experts say. All this narrative is going to change. So I want you all to pay attention to this as we're fighting this information war. Well, thank you all for watching. If you are watching on Facebook, please hit the like button and share this to your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe. Of course, we always want you to comment down below so we can have a conversation. And please head on over to informedamerican.com where you can get real smart news. Thanks so much for watching.